Here we
Didn't Jill get a pink one or something?
Oh, you know what? I was going to get her a pink computer, but they didn't have it, and so we opted not. But welcome everybody for our August community night, which just so happens to fall on my birthday. And so thank you everybody for joining me for my birthday, and at the same time for anybody watching the recording as well who couldn't be with us. I still know you're here in spirit, and I appreciate it so much. So we've got lots, and it's just always random. You know, the one thing you guys have to help me with more than anything, there was somebody who messaged earlier on Facebook, and they're like, "Well, I don't knit and I don't farm, and this person like chats with me here and there, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, it's not about any of that, really. I mean, I know sometimes we are all knitters and people talk about knitting, and of course, it's always that venue for you guys to share, and that's heavy in our content. And then that's I said to her, I go, nobody farms. I'm like, but they want to know. So I have to always do a better job about trying to get it out there, maybe setting it as an event and just, getting new people to join because it's so random, our community nights. I never know what to expect. Um, and I've got a little list of things because I do feel like I've been quiet. Ooh, I got to put that in too. Oh my word. So I know I've been quiet, and as I said and chatted with my friends last night, it's always a weird adjustment for me. Shearing season, as much as I try to share and post, it just gets so physically exhausting. And of course, somehow or other we just get older each year, and I'm just like, dang, I'm so tired. And I don't know, I try to make my schedule easier every year. I just hate how that catches up on you. And this year was a challenging year for shearing season for sure. So I feel like by the time I got to the end of it, I was just like, whew. And then that transition for me to like being back home, trying to reconnect because I just weirdly feel so disconnected to everybody unless you have an animal that needs to be shorn and you own it. I'm not that like in tune with everything else going on. And yeah, I don't know. I think I just take a breath, I regroup, and there's just all sorts of stuff that goes on. And next thing you know, it's like whoosh, you blink and it's sweater weather, right? So I'm maybe slightly ahead of the game. I'm not sure. At the same time, too, first I'm just gonna say I'm admittedly having a cocktail. Now, I went to the gym and I worked out. Sometimes I work out so I can have a cocktail. Don't judge, but it's my birthday. So if anybody's joining
You
me,
deserve it.
I know I texted Ruth Ann. We can't see her, but she promised me she was coming with a cocktail. So at least I wouldn't be the only one.
I have a
But
glass of wine and it's all your fault.
there you go. She couldn't decide which one. She goes, maybe you could twist my arm. I go, well, I'm twisting. So anyway,
Yes, I do
cheers.
have a glass of wine, but I had a walk this morning, so I feel like I can do that.
Exactly. Like
I
I said,
walked for an hour this morning.
exactly.
I can have a glass of wine.
Sometimes we have to do the things just so that we can justify the other things, and I make no shame in that whatsoever. So whether you have a cocktail or not, cheers everybody to my birthday, and thank
Cheers.
you for being. And look, it's healthy and hydrating. It's watermelon juice, literally. It's watermelon juice with vodka.
Sounds
Hey,
good.
but that I will say for anybody, that is the cleanest. Just, here's another like useless tidbit for you. If anybody is trying to be a little more health conscious, this is literally the cleanest alcohol if you want to reduce your calories. So it's still healthy, right? It's watermelon, which is hydrating and good for you. And yeah, there we go. So bottoms up. Every once in a while, I need to take a sip. I can't talk. It's like a meal, which is good because I haven't eaten yet. So Gina will drink too. Where are you? Oh, my two. Okay, why is it that my two cocktailers, which I will tell you guys, it's so funny. I love how I get to know everybody in different ways. So they might not like that I'm going to admit this, but whenever there's something funny that comes up about wine, I always send it to both Ruth Ann and Gina, and I'm pointing because they're right above each other on my screen, and we can't see either of them. So I'm not sure, but I always think that's super funny. So anyway,
You should
either
send
way.
it to me too.
Oh, I did not know that. Well, now I do, and I
You should
will.
see the wine stock we have at our place.
Yeah, but you can't just have stock. You have to consume it.
We do, trust me. It's like, you know, sometimes we consume 2 bottles a week.
2 bottles a week. I know people that'll do 1 bottle a night. Not me.
Well,
Not me. I can't do wine anymore. I really, really can't. I used to, and it's like if it's all you got when in Rome, you just got to. But yeah, it gives me a headache. So, but I will say there are some sweeter ones. And of course, you all know when I go to shear at Divine Llama Vineyards, well, of course, I drink wine every night there because it's free. But they have a very delicious peach wine that I love. I want to say it's called Psy. And I know that you can order online for them. I wish I could do something a bit more collaborative, but they're just not into that as much. But if you are into wine, you can definitely check out because I do hear that they do stuff, online and will ship because it's not easy to ship wine. And of course, we had our one collaboration that we did that one time with McCary Vineyards, and people bought yarn, and you also got a bottle of wine. So that was really fun. So hopefully, we'll come up with some other fun things in the.
how did I miss that?
That was, oh gosh, that was a couple of years ago though, right, guys? That was when I did the collaboration. I did that year-long project with Lisa from
Yeah,
Stop,
that
Drop,
was
and
with
Knit.
Lisa.
Yeah, so yes, that was a couple of years ago.
Well, I've been getting stuff from you ever since COVID started.
Yeah, no, it
You
just
were
depends.
definitely in the group then, Beth.
Yeah, and I think it depends. Sometimes, sometimes you're in and out, and because I know when I don't hear from you a little bit, and no, believe me, I think about you guys, and those of you that I know I hear from a lot, if I don't all of a sudden hear from you, I'm checking up on you, just like you guys do for me, which I
Plus, you had
appreciate.
to be quick to order it before you ran out.
Yes, yeah. Well, that was I just did it was 20, right? We just did 20 each
Yeah.
month. So, and I have some thoughts about doing something new like that with sort of different dyers. So, there's always something cooking for sure. So, I don't know, where do we start? I mean, I during Lent when I couldn't drink. Well, that's your fault if you gave up drinking during Lent. Pick something else like, I don't know, candy, dessert, ice cream. Um, and that's of course for the recording. I mean, I'm reading in the chat. But I don't know, where do we start? I don't want to make it all about
Right.
me.
What did you do on July 4th, or what happened?
Okay. So and I forget, did was community night after?
No, you did community night, and then you got all the way to the end of it about 9:30, and you said somebody next month remind me what happened
Okay.
on July 4th.
All right. I mean, I feel like it was so long ago at this point, and I'm somewhat over it. But so unfortunately, uh, we have a house. So for those of you that have never been here, which is most of you, although it is pretty cool that many of you have been here, we literally live in a residential area. So my street, that Priscilla, I know with the fun shop, my street that I live on is first of all like a bypass. So people will use my road as a cut through to go from like our one major highway to another major highway. So it's a very like high trafficked road, but it's also very residential. Yet when you come onto my farm and then you go behind my house, back where the animals are, everything is woods, and then we don't have any houses on either side. We are like 50 feet from a park. So that is also another part of it. So it's just like a whole nother world once you get to the back of my farm. Check your muting in your background, guys. There's too many of you that are on, so I don't want to run through and mute you guys. So just please, if that's your background, mute it. Thank you. Um, So the house diagonally from me is I swear cursed because the people that lived there before it was a bit much, let's just say, of all sorts of crazy things that would happen. Everything from, it started out peaceful and then there was like a divorce and then there was like literally, I mean, sad, but like I think one of their kids like OD'd. There'd always be like dogs running away. There was always screaming and fighting, even in the middle of the day. I would remember I would have like llama lessons and I'd be so embarrassed because people are out there like cursing and yelling, and I've got like kids on the farm. Like it was just always crazy. And then the house was like forever on short sale. And then there was like the husband was still there, and then like weird people were living with him. It was just nuts. Anyway, the house finally sells after so many years and a family moves in. Now, they moved in, and I must have been in maybe Iowa. I was away at a llama show, and like our one of our first experiences was that essentially their dog kept getting loose, and then one day their dog got loose, ran over to our farm, got in with our sheep. Esmeralda, who worked for me at the time, literally like dove after this dog to grab the dog. I mean, not even knowing if the dog was friendly or not, to get the dog. It was just crazy. So now, like Mama Bear, right? My blood is pumping, and that's my first, interaction with the wife of the household. Um, and they are and then that was it. And I invited them over a couple of times to come see the farm. So, and they said they would come, then they flaked out and they just never took advantage of it. So be it, whatever. So all that to say, I mean, we've tried to be good neighbors. But when I tell you, like these people, so my bedroom window is like literally diagonal from where they are. So I think we receive the majority of the noise. Look, have a good time. I don't care. But it has been numerous times in which they will have us up at all hours. And I'm a light sleeper. And I'm talking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes it's screaming and yelling because there's a fight going on because obviously people drank too much. Next thing you know, sometimes it's just fun because they just want to be outside, chit-chatting, talking, saying goodbye to people. I have no idea. And it is just not our way of like, we're not that kind of neighborhood. I hate to say that, right? So these have been the interactions. So to keep it somewhat short, basically they decide to have Grucci fireworks, 4th of July fireworks, and a whole big party. There was lots of people. Again, play your music. I don't care. I get it's a holiday. But when I say they were doing fireworks for like an hour, and we're not talking like sparklers, we're talking like, M80s and pew and up in the air and the noise and the colors. First of all, right over my freaking bedroom window. Second of all, we hadn't had any rain. And so that was a concern. And then, I don't always worry about my animals, but I was more concerned about like Jack, who's blind, and then Mumford, who has now seemingly pretty much gone blind, and like that kind of stuff. And my blood was just pumping, like I was boiling. So there was obviously one or two things we tried to do. You call the cops, they don't care. You call the fire department because now I don't know. I'm looking at my window. Not only are they in the middle of the street setting all this off, which is pretty much across from my driveway, but they are blocking like one lane of traffic, so people have to drive around them. Then at some point, I see a full-blown bonfire fire going on. I don't think they set something on fire. I think they intentionally had some sort of fire going on. I have no idea. I was losing my shit, basically. And so Christopher was getting upset. He was not helping me. And then he went out there at one point, maybe to say something, do something. I don't know. We called authorities. They would drive by. Of course, they do nothing. And then I'm like, listen, I am telling you, like, this is not going to be good, folks. Like, if my husband goes out there, if a fight breaks out, like it was starting to get to the point of like, I was concerned based on the way he's acting, of which my, my dear man, he really doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He talks a good talk, but I knew he wouldn't. But I just wasn't sure. So anyway, I get to the end of all of it. Nothing is, and then now they know it's us that called, I'm sure. So now they've moved stuff over. So it's like literally in front of my driveway. They set off a pack like one of those like bam, 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 just going. They set off a pack that went on for so long because I was in bed. Now, mind you, picture me, crazy lunatic. I'm in like shorts and like a t-shirt. You know, of course, we're in our pajamas, ladies, right? So no bra, no nothing. I had enough time to get out of bed, contemplate it first, get out of bed, find shoes, get out my house, run to the end of my driveway, basically half dressed. Now I'm still standing at the end of my driveway and this pack is going off in front of me. My blood was pumping. Now he's running after me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "What should have been done a long time ago." Now I'm in my driveway like a lunatic, adjusting my bun, right? Like I'm like, I got my t-shirt on. I am not even exaggerating any of this, guys. So now it finally stops, and I'm like, "Oh," and I run into the middle of the street to then realize that there's about 30 or 40 of them, and there's me. And I'm just like, we are not doing this. Like I was, but of course, stupid me is trying to be rational. And I'm trying to say to them, I don't care. Play your music, do whatever you want, do fireworks for a half an hour. But like, it's too long. It's been too much. There's no rain. I was trying to be rational. And they're just screaming and they're like, it's Saturday. It's not even midnight. I'm like, okay, great. You know, they're like, it's not even like it's a Tuesday. It's a holiday, you know, and then you hear fireworks going off in the distance. And I'm just like, we're not that kind of neighborhood. Do you hear any? It was just, it was crazy. And then unfortunately, it started to get ugly. My husband like grabs me and he was just like, this is getting us nowhere. And then he basically like drags me back to the house. And then we just had to lay in bed while they continued even more retributions, I guess is the word, and just couldn't do anything about it. Now, mind you, there was like a lot said, and Christopher was really upset about it. I didn't care. And so he actually ended up going over to them the next day to talk to them and to just be like, look, you know, this is not what we want. You know, we want to be good neighbors. This was our concern. Now, here's the crazy thing, folks. They literally said to Christopher, you know, we're sorry, we didn't think about it. You know, we even lost a dog on July 4th once. You lost a dog once on July 4th, and you don't have the forethought about other people that have like pets and things like that, right?
They
So,
probably were drunk. They had,
okay, Amy, that's not a probably. I hate to say, but if you saw
so
the
he maybe they didn't even remember the next.
No, right. Oh, no, there was alcohol is always involved with these people, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Like, look, cheers. I get it, right? It's just about being good neighbors, I guess. And so it's just nobody else does that in our neighborhood. And I feel bad that these people have moved in and they're just different in that sense. So anyway, that was that. I mean, Christopher said sorry, you know, they were sorry. It was like everything was fine. And then actually for our open house, this is so funny. Mimi and I got in our gator, our feed cart, and we drive like to the neighbors and we give them cards just so they know that we're doing an event and to invite them and, you know, in case there's any traffic or that kind of stuff. And so we're driving up and down the road like in our gator. I'm like, all right, Mimi, we're going to do this. We're going to go over to their house and just be nice and invite them. So I pull in. They've got twin girls. I hear the girls run into the house. They drove over in their tractor. I'm like, it's not a tractor. It's like a glorified golf cart. It was so funny. I was dying. Now I'm standing out there on the porch, like waiting, you know, and they think I'm in his tractor. So anyway, you know, we gave them a card and they were like, oh, we'll definitely be over, blah, blah, blah. And of course they never showed up. So you know what? Like we've tried and we've tried to do our part. So I am sure yet there will be another occasion in which they will have us up in the middle of the night because they're having fun. And
Do
you
you
know
not
that
have city ordinances that prevent fireworks going on in your
ma'am,
area?
absolutely. I made sure I Googled all of that. The noise ordinance shut off at 10 o'clock. We were well past 10 o'clock. Fireworks are illegal here. Nobody cares, right? They just close their eyes. And I get it. You know, like I do get it. But it's just, you know, again, we're just, I don't mean to say we're just not that kind of neighborhood. And I felt bad for my animals. So, that's that. That's what happened. But, your girl decided to run
The
out there and
petite,
take matters in her own hands. So it was like me and all of them, and they're all in my faces. And I stood a good fight, but, we didn't get very far. But I was proud of myself. So
They have
Well,
young kids too?
they do. Yes,
That
that's the
that is
other thing.
bizarre.
I mean, I don't really know, but like when I pulled up, there was two twin girls that had to have been, I mean, maybe somewhere between 10, 13, maybe 9, maybe 12, like, young girls-ish. They weren't teenagers by far. And there were some other kids that just walked onto our farm one day shortly after they moved in. I wasn't here. Jill like found them and again, I mean, I wouldn't have cared otherwise, but so it's just different. What are you going to do? We're sort of like still the country, believe it or not, for people that live what we call Up Island. For those of you that are my Long Island friends, Up Island is what I call like, where as you move west and you go towards the city, when you live east, I call it Up Island. And the demographics, the dynamics are just very different from where I live, where people west live, and then even people further east live. It's just so different. So
she
yeah,
lives on a farm,
what's that?
folks. You live on a farm,
I
girl.
do, but I live in the middle of a residential area. So
Yes.
we're not like it's very unique in that sense. And it gets even, I mean, there's not a word of which I would use rural to describe anywhere on Long Island. And where I live is definitely, I feel like suburbia because there's literally on my block house after house after house after house. We just have a very unique piece of property that is 17 acres next to a park. So we just have our own little world, like once you go behind my house. But when you drive on my road, you take your
It's all
life in your hands. I mean, they drive 60 miles an hour on this road, which is 30 miles an hour because it's this bypass that, people take. So look, overall, it's beautifully situated, not necessarily in a town I would have chose, but people who live west can reach me easily. People who live east can reach me easily. And we're equidistant between what we call our Long Island Expressway and our Sunrise Highway, which are our major roads that run east and west on Long Island. So it's really, really nice that way. Um, yeah,
And
so
it's beautiful.
yes, thank you. And I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, we have the shooting range a couple doors down. Um, and actually there's even the cutest. So it's called the Long Island Steamers. I
Oh,
have pictures from when I was a kid on these little trains. And so just like three doors down is an entrance to our park. And there used to be an equestrian center there. It's no longer, but it's a volunteer run and they are these little trains that are big enough for kids to sit in and the tracks and there's a whole path and it's just such a what's the word I'm looking for?
magical.
Well,
Charming.
it's magical, but it's like
Because I mean, my one oldest son was enamored with trains, so we would go every time they were open, every
yeah.
single time,
And
and
we
ride
tried
and
to
ride.
do because they only run obviously right like certain months out of the year
Yeah.
and maybe like twice a month. And I did
Mhm.
try one year to have like our cards with them because it's a family event and then to try to get people to come to our farm. I probably have to work harder at it, but that didn't seem to work. I mean, I guess if I was down there with animals, that would help to draw people, to our farm. But it's just such a nostalgic place that has been around for so long. I mean, look, folks, I'm 54 for gosh sakes, and I have pictures of me when I was a little kid on it. That's how long it's been there. So it's so neat that that's, where I now am. And around the corner, we have a strawberry farm that, it's like a you pick. I mean, they have lots of other stuff now, but again, growing up, you would go to Glover's farm and pick strawberries. And I remember doing that as a kid. It's so weird that I ended up here. And then around the corner, the other way, when I was younger, do not judge, this was popular, but there was a rabbit farm. It was just a house, but, it was a rabbit tree. And they made rabbit coats. Again, don't judge. This is when I was like second or third grade and it was a thing. And I had this beautiful rabbit coat with this, little muff. And I remember going there to get it. And like now I live down the street from where it used to be. So it's just kind of interesting, that way. But it still is Yeah Pink, and we still are home to our local jail and our local dump. And we have delis and a post office, and that's pretty much about it. And of course, a not so great heritage, if you will, with, wars and certain. Madeline, you look puzzled. You don't, the whole,
You know,
Yeah Pink
I don't-
is very rich in, unfortunately, German heritage. How about we just say that?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it is very German.
Yes, it's very German. I mean, there's even a community called German Gardens. Like you have to have German ancestry to live there still. It's so there's a lot of history in that, which I don't love and certainly not happy about. But it's an interesting town, needless to say. And I'm here. So that was 15 minutes later. You guys know I can't ever tell a short story, and I barely made it through my first drink. But that was my July 4th. That's my neighborhood. That's that's just the unique things that, really I'm sure any farm has to deal with. I know those of you guys that follow autumn olive farms, I know they were having some concerns and some challenges, and they don't have like neighbors, but they had neighbors that were going to be setting off fireworks and stuff. And I know she was real upset. It was making her horses real upset. So yeah, it's a real thing for lots of people, right? But I think it's harder for those of us that have animals outside versus when you have pets inside and you can try to comfort them, hold them, give them drugs, whatever you need to do, to make sure that they're good and they're safe. So
How did your animals react to the fireworks?
well, I guess so that's the hard thing, and that's what I'm saying. It's easier when you have animals
Yeah.
indoors because you can be there for them. To be honest, I was so busy managing situations across the street that I at one point Christopher did go out and take a look and make sure everybody was okay. And I really think they're better than I probably think they are. So I think it's more just, how I feel for them. But, look, at least in the morning, nobody was hurt. Nobody was like busted through fences. I mean, Jillian is saying they're used to the gun range. The gun range is a lot different though, because it's quieter and it's almost like very monotonous because when it's a nice day and people are there and they are doing things, engaging in their activities, it's very like routine. So even my dogs that maybe have a harder time with fireworks or lightning and thunder don't have an issue with the gun range. So it's definitely very different. Because we were talking fireworks that were literally being set off over my farm, like literally because these people are so close. So it's a lot different that way. But yeah, so I don't know exactly how they do. And it's funny, we used to do camp. This came up because we had camp kids here yesterday. And I used to do like a week-long camp for my llama kids. And one of the nights they would come at 5 and we would camp out overnight, which equals we don't sleep, and which equals Miss Tabitha has to sleep on the floor in a tent, of which I'm not a camper, and I'm definitely not a tent camper. Christopher would laugh as he was in his bed, and I'm like out here, but we would always try to go see the llamas, but I swear the minute you go out there, they're like, whoop, and they're up. So you don't really ever get to, see them sleeping or see what they're doing. Because the minute you walk out there, they're just aware. So I guess they're light sleepers. If you come to a llama show, that's when you see them super tired because a lot of times they'll be just like passed out or stretched out and their head is down on the chin, and then you'll see like their head nodding off, or you'll see them like really just zonked out. So there's a definite difference, I think, of what makes them tired.
Well, Tabitha,
Yeah.
isn't one of the reasons that they would wake up at the really small sounds is because they're their nature is to be alert llamas. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I mean, and I think that's probably true with any animals, really, or any outdoor animals, because if you think about it, regardless of whether they act to protect sheep and goats, or they still have their own natural predators. I mean, I mean, it's interesting. I never thought about that, but I think all animals that live outside, livestock, and I was gonna say, I mean, they're all domesticated, but I think different from dogs and cats again, although maybe outdoor cats act that way. I mean, I think they all have to have that sense of like half awake because it's a matter of protection, right? So yeah, that's interesting. And I just never thought about it that way.
You
So
should have sicked the llamas on them.
well, thankfully, my animals are all way sweeter sometimes than people think, right? Llamas always have such a bad reputation. So it's always nice though when people can come and have a positive experience, like at our open house, and see how wonderful they are. So. But yeah, so see, and once again, we never know where our conversations will go, and things that I just don't think about based on questions you guys ask. So it's always interesting that way. Um, so yeah, that was my July 4th. So I'm taking a sip.
I want to apologize to the group last month for ending up my ending up not getting muted all the time. Tabitha was very good about muting me. I was in a hospital and my phone kept going crazy, and I kept thinking I had muted it, but it wasn't muting quite right, and so I kept the phone kept going crazy on me. So I'm sorry that I kept making noises during the meeting.
Are
You
you
never have
okay?
to
I
worry
noticed
about
that you were in the hospital. Are you doing okay? Beth?
I'm doing a lot better.
Okay,
So thanks.
the only reason why I'm laughing here, right, Amy, is like it's not even, and I didn't even notice. Folks, she is joining us for community night from the
From the
hospital.
hospital.
I
If
didn't
that is
notice that,
not dedication, right?
but I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, I think she's in the hospital. Oh my
I
gosh. But
I did
I
not
imagine
even
it made you
realize
feel
that.
better watching us, right?
It did. I was having this dreadful test. It was just this, it was so painful. And by listening to you, it made the test less painful because I could center into something else rather than
Good.
this just stupid test that I had to have. So it was very distracting and very useful.
I mean, I don't love that for you, but
Well, I'm
like
glad we could
obviously
help.
that's yeah, exactly. And I'm going to give a shout out because I know we can't see their faces, but even we haven't seen Erin Carnes and Ruth much, but Erin has been messaging me to wish me a happy birthday, and she said I'm going to be on tonight even if I have an IV in me. I'm like,
Saw
okay,
her at slot.
right? And I know Erin.
I got an IV and I love you.
See?
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
I mean, again, I'm not laughing for you, but I
It's
am just like,
funny.
I absolutely, so I want you to know I always think about you, and just when Beth was saying that, then I thought of you. So I wanted to give you a shout out, and I'm figuring that's why we can't see you. But like I just
We love you.
And
it's
I
only
saw
like
Erin
45
and
minutes
she
in, you
looked
guys are gonna make me cry.
We love you, babe.
great, Erin. You look so good. And mom.
Yes, that's right.
Aw,
I know I saw the pictures that you
thank
guys
you,
all got to
Amy.
see each other. So that's
Yeah,
amazing.
it was so great.
That's amazing. I love
It
it.
was.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, right? We all we all have to deal with things. And um this is not even the alcohol. I'm barely through my drink because you guys have me talking too damn much. But no, it's great. I mean, that's the only thing I ever say to people. Like I was trying to convince this other person to join, and I'm just like, it's just such a great community, whether there's 10 people on or, back in COVID there was 40 people on, like it's just such a great group, and it's so cool that people get to know each other, from doing this, and I love that. So I really really do. So I appreciate all of you guys for all of that, and getting to know each other, on social media, getting to meet each other, see each other. So that's amazing. So I'm so glad, and we're certainly wishing you well, Erin. And I don't know, am I going to see Erin? Am I going to see you at Rhinebeck this year?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay, well then hurry up and get better.
I'm doing what I can.
Good, 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 good.
Yeah. She,
Well, wishes.
Yes, absolutely.
even though
Absolutely.
Erin confused me a little bit, so because it says Ruth's phone, and I know that's her mother, but I thought it was Ruth Ann. I'm like, what in the world's going on? But
No, and
I'm
that's
glad
well, it
Erin's
is
there.
both, but thank God it comes up as Ruth's phone. So
Yeah.
and then Ruth Ann's got her whole name across. So, yeah, you
Yeah.
can kind of differentiate, that way for sure. So
As long as she's here.
absolutely, absolutely good. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, we can fire away. Like, I've got things I want to make sure. So I mean, I'm gonna tag off onto that. I mean, the one thing I want to first of all say is hopefully everybody does receive the newsletter. I know even some of my stout supporters. If you're not getting it, check your spam because that happens, right? And if for some reason or other you're not getting the newsletter, let me know. But I do want to say, don't forget if you got the newsletter, we've got it jam packed with lots of stuff. And most importantly, if you want to benefit from my birthday and the fact that I'm 54, we have 54% off. Our skincare. So sometimes I like to do that because those of you that can't come to our open house events where we do our 50% off sales and other sales, it's a nice way to say, hey, look, I know you live too far and you don't get to be part of it and you maybe don't get to get in on the raffle baskets, but here's a little something. So it's even better, 4% better than what people get at the open house. But from now through Sunday evening, if you want to take advantage and stock up, where we're out of some things, we actually just placed a new order so that we can hopefully be ready to go by the fall. Like our coconut body butter is sold out, and honey almond salve is pretty much almost sold out. I think we have like 16 left. Everything else we're good on. But that's why we are reordering. So yeah, summertime is not always the time in which I'm applying as much of it, as I'm sure all of you know if you use it. But at the same time, for me, it's a great after sun care. I still use it on my feet because I get lots of calluses on my feet. I even this year, I'm not really sure why, but on my hand, I've had like here has been extremely dry, and then now it's extended. Like, I don't know, this is what happens when you get old. Now, do I have eczema? I have no idea. But like now I have a dry spot like right here. And then now it's getting onto like my knuckle. So constantly, putting the salve on that, for that kind of repair. So it's still something you can use throughout the summer, but, or you can grab some and keep it for the fall. But anyway, no code needed. Just when you go on and check out, it'll just automatically come up. So that'll be good through Sunday if you want to grab anything and help me celebrate 54 years young, right? 54 years.
Yes, but
I don't know. Like 50, I was so fine. I don't know, like even everything else, for some reason or other, I know you guys are gonna make fun of me for those of you that are older than me, but it's just like 54. Now I'm like, oh, okay. So, we're just climbing up there.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
fight
it's
it.
better than the alternative.
Well,
I
it
feel,
is.
yeah, I feel really young when I'm around you, and I know I'm older.
Good, good. Well, and hey, I'm so blessed. I mean, especially when so many of you are like, "Oh, I'm this old or this old." And I mean, right, 50 is the new young. I mean, it's great. I mean, if of course when we were younger, we were like, "Oh my God, that's so old." But I feel like more and more of what I read or hear on social media and things, it's just that like you're almost coming into your own as you get into your 40s and 50s, and basically you don't give a crap. I'll just say that, even though it's not my favorite word. You know my favorite word, but you're just like, I don't care, and I'm just going to do whatever I want.
The
And
crime of life.
My mother is worried about not being able to think of things and remember stuff. And I'm like, Mom, you're 87.
That's great. I feel like when you get to, well, that's just a whole nother level. Like when you really get to that age, you really can do whatever you want, right? And nobody should say anything or anything about it. So, I
My
mean,
cousin's daughter turned 35 today.
uh-huh.
She said when she told her son, who's 5, that she was 35, he said, "Wow, it's almost 100."
Oh my word. That's terrible. The perspective when you're younger is just crazy, right?
Yeah, everybody over 18 is just old when you're young.
Oh, well, hey, it's all great. It's all part of it. So, anyway, so again, feel free and hey, tell a friend, right? That's another way. And look, the reality is yes, you guys can benefit, but don't forget it helps us too. It's what keeps us going around here and keeps me being able to do the things that I like to do and want to do. And summer's always a little quieter, but before you know it, we're gonna blink and that's that. So
Well, I don't forget to write down Share and Share Tour on it too.
yes, I was going to say. So yeah, thank you. And I will say, that might be another incentive. I mean, look, again, I feel like I wasn't as great about promoting that. Plus, sometimes there were incentives, like when we had our die collaborations and different things like that. You guys were forced to purchase and then be able to accrue points, if you will. But I still do diligently went around this year and got donations from my customers of so many different things. So the Share and Share Tour basket is still there. And look, mind you, like for instance, Elizabeth, when you shopped offline and picked up those bags the other day, we gave you points. So, I mean, even if you forgot, if you're a regular of mine and I know you're with me and I know you're watching and I know you know about it, we'll make sure you get in on it. But this is going to be kind of the last chance to be able to get some extra tickets in for the Share and Share Tour basket. I am going to close that down. Oh, watch your background, everybody. I don't know. I can't even tell who it is because so many of you are unmuted, which is fine. So that I'm going to shut down at the end of the month. And technically, I really did just finish right before, guys, you got to help me. I don't know who that is, but I'm just going to start muting everybody if that's the case. So anyway, I technically still have one more account, but it's not anything really big. It's like 2 hair sheep that just need a little trim and some hoof trimming. But I did just before my birthday, just before open house, sorry, finish up kind of everything. And looking at the calendar, September, I'm going to start rolling into the some little bit of fall sharing. So we're really not too far off. So use that opportunity, grab some stuff from the sale, and in the notes or the comments, don't forget to put the Share and Share Tour gift basket. Like I said, there's lots of great things in there. The other thing I will just make mention, because I feel like it was the other thing that's, I don't want to say drag on in a bad way. It was like so many other things were happening and transitioning. But we do, and we have, sort of started chapter 2 of like our Adopt a Llama program. And I can't tell you where that's going. And Amy, for instance, you shifted on my screen. You were on my left. Now you're my top right. Like Amy just jumped in, to give her support for that. When I started it last year with Yahtzee, it was sort of like, I don't know where this is going. And it's funny because I almost feel like now this is
No, I
kind of
can't.
morphing
No.
to where it's going to be more of like a just overall farm support, and you kind of get different, I mean, they'll still be additions, but I know for some people they're like, well, I don't have any skin in the game, Elizabeth, with these new llamas, and that's fine. But it's just a way for people to, get in on things. And again, interestingly enough, and I have to go through and I will individually text everybody that's been part of chapter one to say thank you, of course, because it meant so much for this like inaugural program. And as I told my llama mamas, the level four people, like, it was interesting that the correlation, I mean, I don't want to say like you get what you pay for, but like they're so invested because we like live together every month, going through the first journey, that like they were just like boom on board. I mean, chapter two is really only because of them, in that sense. And now I already see that chapter two is going to be a little bit different. But we structured the program. I made a couple changes, so I don't know where it's going to go. I do have my eyes already on a new llama for next year, because
Ooh.
that's what I do.
Ooh.
But even like with this llama that we got, Diamond, yes, I've had him since the end of June. So really, he's been here a month and a half. But I am going to shut that program down also, because again, that's how I see it. I know other people do adopt an animal programs where you can like just go on a website and you can adopt, a goat, and you get a certificate, and like that's that. And I don't know, like I just, for me right now, I just see it as a little bit more of a full-fledged, type program in that way. So I'm excited about some of the new things that we've done, and with the level of the llama mamas, we had our Zoom yesterday, so like we Zoom every month, and there's different things, and people have gotten llama ribbons, and last year we did yarn. But the interesting thing is I can't do yarn this year, because my new little guy was already shorn and I didn't get his fleece, and then because Yahtzee has been showing, I've been shearing her, so her fleece isn't long enough to be able to turn into yarn. So it's even all those things that I feel like we kind of all learn through it. So I want to shut down, that sign up that will shut down at the end. Did I say? Or I think I said it's Sunday. So I think
Sunday.
it's gonna shut down Sunday night, and then we can officially kick off and start getting newsletters out and things like that. So I'm just excited to kind of take that next step also. But that's another great way to get your tickets in for the Sheer and Share tour. So again, just know that these are all like just little unique ways in which I'm like, hey, jump on this journey with me, and remember, it helps to support, everything that we're doing here. I think soon I'm going to need to do an adopt a turkey program, because now Mimi, I forget, I don't know what she calls them, besitos. I don't know what their names are. I don't know how you say turkey in Spanish, but literally
Cheetos is not turkey, it's kisses.
it's not, I don't know. She calls them something like that, but all I know is we literally have six resident turkeys that, I'm not joking you, just like the deer, they are out there waiting in the morning when you pull up. And they're at the barn. If you call them, they come running. As soon as the camp kids left yesterday, they came out of the woods like little crazy dinosaurs. So they're almost worse than the deer right now, because the deer have been a little quiet. We haven't seen them too much lately. So, all right, Beth, I know I see you have your hand up. So, actually, I don't think you're muted. So I think you can
No,
just
I finally let me unmute.
sorry.
The basket for the Share and Share tour. You were showing what all was in the basket. That's all right. You don't have to get the basket. My question is, somebody donated a sheep. It says that somebody donated a sheep.
Okay, well, it's not a real sheep. Let me, there's no real sheep. That I know for sure.
Well, I was going, what the hell am I, if I win it?
Oh, no. I think this picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that's what I'm thinking. No, it says, well, so they're pictured with one of their valets, black
Yeah.
nosed lambs, but It is a hand felted alpaca ornament that is part of the basket, not the sheep.
I was like, what the blue blazes is somebody supposed to do with the sheep?
Could you imagine? No, and yeah, so they are folks that I shear for in North Carolina, and they've got a little bit of everything. So they have Angora goats that I shear, much to my chagrin, and they know that, but I do it. They've got the Valleys black nose, which they actually have 200%. Otherwise, they've got a couple what they call like F1s, F2s. And then they have some Gotlands, they have alpacas, they do not have a llama. So I'm still working on that. They do not have a llama. And they've got a bunch of livestock guardian dogs. They have a little bit of everything, and their place is just gorgeous. It's probably one of my new favorite towns to visit and to shear in, and the views are just beautiful. But yes, you are getting one of their hand felted alpaca ornaments, not the
I
way.
just freaked out when I saw that picture, and I'm like, what the H are you supposed to do with a sheep?
And this wasn't my favorite one, but they did have one. So when you look at different breeds, right, there's like standard of perfection, it's called, meaning there's certain markings that are identifiable for that particular breed and allowing them to be registered. And so in the Valley's Black Nose, both the girls, the ewe lambs, and the boys, the ram lambs, have different markings that have to be so precise in order for them to be registered.
That's right.
And they had one though, and what did they call her? I think they have a term for it because it must pop up genetically. I don't think it's necessarily like standard of perfection, but I want to say she called it a spitty. I don't know. It was like a polka dotted, like Valet's black nose, and it had like spots all over it. Oh my God, she was the cutest. That's when I'm just like, oh, really? I think I have to come home with that. That's when I get in trouble. But yeah, so but this was her 100%. So right, so they can get embryos. It's crazy what people do. But they get embryos shipped over because you cannot import the animals over. So they get embryos shipped over. The embryos are implanted into surrogate ewes that then carry it, and then of course give birth, and then that's how you have 100% Valley's black nose on US soil. It's insane. It is really insane.
Well, Tammy White does it.
Yes, I mean, there's plenty of other people that do it. Whether or not the return is going to be there for what people have to pay for it, these folks don't really need to care about the return. I mean, they try, but ultimately they're not running a business. It's a hobby farm, and they have the resources, as humble as they are in that sense. But it's super cool to be part of it in that way. But yeah, no, there's lots of great things, even more so. I mean, that mug again that I know you loved so much last time, Beth NG, stuff from Lost World Caverns, and a candle from a lard candle at that, which I thought was pretty cool, regardless of what you believe in or are comfortable with, from Autumn Olive Farms, of course, for their pigs. And I grabbed new things from new people. And so, yeah, there's really actually a lot. So I'm excited about that. And again, I know I don't always promote as much as I should, but just know I'm out there working hard for sure. So I always have fun things, even if I don't talk about it. All right, let's see. How do embryos survive that much traveling and shipping? So I'm not exactly privy to that because I'm not involved and I haven't asked that question. Now, for instance, semen in general, you can do artificial insemination with certain animals. You can't do that with llamas because llamas are what's called induced ovulators. So they need the actual act of copulation in order for the female to release eggs. So artificial insemination is not possible. In the early days, they did do embryo transfer, so you can take a full embryo and put that in llamas. But for animals that you can do artificial insemination, which is pretty much almost everything else, they have frozen semen, so they freeze it. So I would almost have to imagine that there's something like that.
I'm pretty sure it is because
know?
Tammy's talked about it a lot in her stuff.
Yeah, so Wing and a Prayer, you can go and follow her with what she does, and I'm sure get more information that way. But again, I'm not as privy to it. And I got to be honest, I'm not. Well, this is our recording, so I don't care. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm just really not. I feel like to some degree it's a pyramid, and the bottom's going to drop out again somewhere, like with every other animal. And I understand it, right? Like I understand that, people are getting involved, and there's, financial remuneration to some point. And then at some point, like basic economics 101 for everybody to understand, as the market gets flooded, the bottom drops out, and then where are you? So I think it's a little bit of a risky financial game that I personally would not get involved in, unless I had those kinds of resources, and I don't. So, I hope well for everybody, right? And those that get in early in that game make their money. And, as more people get in on it because they think, they're going to be able to retire on that, that's kind of where sometimes you have to be careful. And that happened with the alpaca industry. I mean, people got involved in, alpacas because they thought that was it. I mean, they advertise it as a lifestyle investment, retirement investment. People were adjusting, they were boarding alpacas, they were writing them off against the value of their homes. And when the housing market dropped, that all dropped and the bottom dropped out for a lot of people. So, getting involved in livestock and then using that as your investment and a way to retire is definitely a dicey game. I make it very well known to everybody, I am not selling llamas as part of my business model. I'm not. I do it because I make a few animals every year and you can't keep them all. And I like to pay it forward for people to have that kind of, llama life that I have feel like I've been blessed with. Obviously it's like hay money, like right, feed money goes back to, taking care of everybody else, or oftentimes selling an animal or two for me is then what allows me to buy another animal. So I kind of look at it that way. It's more of like a turnover. But I've just grown up in doing animals, and so I think you always have to watch out for those kinds of things. But either way, it was emus one year, it was ostrich, like like emu oil and everything was a rage for a while, and everybody got involved with that. And so there's always something. Can I just say I'm gonna get on a soapbox, and again, because I'm talking so much, I'm only halfway through, so it's not that. I don't like lately on social media, and it's probably the pages that I follow, that people are getting animals and then using it for like social entertainment of like, look what I came home with now, and my husband's going to be so upset, or this or that. Or there's a couple of pages that I just end up having to follow, and it always makes me anxious when I feel like it's more for social entertainment, that it's like, wait till you see what we got now. There's this one crazy girl that I follow, and obviously her parents have money, but it's like she's got a wallaby, she's got an ostrich, she's got this, she's got that, she's got pigs, and it's just it's always like, she's running out to the tractor supply to get supplies for her new animal. Or there's another guy that sort of popped up in my feed of, he's always like getting some new crazy animal and bringing it home to like make his wife mad kind of thing. And so I just wonder what happens to those animals. And I don't know.
I feel sorry for the animals.
I do, but I also feel like it's the responsibility of the people that sell them too, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like just as much as people who buy animals and they're not educated about what's involved. And look, maybe they are, but they're not showing that, right? But I feel like just the same, it's the responsibility of the people selling the animals to make sure is that, really what you want to do. And there's a lot of people that just breed to sell, and they're not concerned about, the follow-up, the outcome, in that sense. Can they rent barn? I'm sure that, I'm sure. The only reason why I don't know that that's happening in these instances, at least with the few that I see, is because I keep seeing the animals over and over again, which is great in that sense. But I am sure these days you can rent, use, anything for, social media attention. But yeah, whenever an animal's at risk in that sense, I think that's always, something you got to be careful about, right? Because I always say if you get an animal, okay, if it's a dog or a cat, you can bring it to a shelter if you no longer need it or want it or can keep it. But if it's anything else, what are you doing? There's not like there's really not a lot of sanctuaries and things like that out there to be able to help. And those that are out there end up getting overloaded in some sense. So anyway, I'll get off that soapbox, but it was just something that popped into my head, things that I feel like I see lately. And it's because I follow animal stuff. So if you're not following animal stuff, then it probably doesn't pop up that way. So anyway, so those are a couple of things on my list that I get to check off for sure. I mean, does anybody want to give me a break? I mean, does anybody have a question? I mean, Elizabeth, you said you had like a litany of questions for me.
Well, you keep like, I mean, when if you have something to talk about, I didn't want to get in your way too
No,
much.
don't worry. I always have plenty to talk about, but I
Okay.
mean, this is your time too, so that's what's important to me.
What did Isabella Rossellini donate to your open house?
It was a book. Oh, you're gonna ask me the title? Things come and go so quickly. It was something like it was like Me and My Chickens. It was a book that apparently she wrote about her chickens and her experiences with her chickens. I was, of course, so excited, that I was able to, get something donated. She signed it. I have a picture of it in the basket. I mean, I didn't read the book. We got it very, I don't want to say last minute, but we do ask people and then some things get dragged on and I don't want to say this was a last minute request, but by the time we ended up getting it, so I didn't read through the book, but I'm sure if you Googled Isabella Rossellini and a book about chickens, it would come up. Whether or not it was self-published, I mean, I don't even know. To tell you the truth, I didn't even know she had a book about chickens because she's such an advocate for wool and her sheep and her heritage breeds. But I know she also has heritage breeds of chickens. And then I know she did some sort of play because she has a degree of some sort in like animal behavior, um, but also like reproduction, I think, or something. There was some sort of very, oh, what's a nice word? Unique, interesting, eclectic, maybe that's a better word. There was something interesting, some interesting play that she did. There was like outfits, I don't know. It was very artistic. And it was related to like animals and sex, to the best of my recollection. Again, I did not see it. I mean, I don't have time for a lot of these things, and it wasn't of interest to me necessarily, but because she's got some sort of, right, like minor degree in something else that she like went back to do. And really, I mean, she's so passionate about her animals and things that she has on her farm. It's really cool. And she really is such a nice human being. Like she's been to my farm, which is amazing and thinks nothing of it. I mean, I have pictures of when I was shearing her sheep. She was like helping me wrangle them, and I'm just such an interesting character, in that sense, and a character at that, really. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Well, if she donates yarn, let us know and I'll send you money for raffle tickets.
No, that's not happening. Because here's the thing. No, because it's not. So, for instance, something else that came out of it, I had a chance to meet. So, there's a woman, her name is Mimi Prober. So, there was a movie that was just recently done in one of the film festivals. Somebody help me because I don't follow this. What is like one of the very famous Tribeca? Maybe Tribeca Film Festival. And it's called Farm to Fashion. Again, these are things. If I did a more regular newsletter, Stephanie, that's why you're on my list to talk to. Um, This was a independent film that was done. I apparently am in there for like a snippet. I mean, I was teasing because I got the call to tell me I was in it. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to have my approval beforehand to put me in a movie? Regardless, I mean, I think you basically could like hiccup and it's over. And then I was kidding around. I was like, am I going to get my royalties? You know? But because I was part of a shearing, uh, I mean, film is Isabella and her production manager, whatever, they did a educational video about why shearing sheep is important. And if you've never seen it, you can go to oh, the Livestock Breed Conservancy. I had to like think about it for a second. So yeah, so the Livestock Breed Conservancy is an organization that essentially is a shepherd, for a lack of better word, to support all the different species of livestock that are out there, and then the various breeds, and keeping track of what breeds are potentially, rare, endangered, extinct, and doing whatever they can to make sure that certain breeds do not become extinct. So it's the American Livestock Breed Conservancy. And so there was, and maybe still is, an anti-wool campaign out there, right? Where people were essentially against, shearing sheep and against wool. And so, because Isabella is so passionate about her heritage breeds of sheep she has on our farm, she paid to have this film, this little film, the little educational film done. And I just by happenstance got to be part of it. There was a woman in California, Stephanie Wilkes. She was one of my TDOC members, for those of you that have been with me for TDOC. And so she had gotten hurt and couldn't finish her part of it. So it was like her and I doing the shearing aspect of things. The narration was done by Temple Grandin, which I did not know. So I was floored when I saw the actual piece put together, and is beautifully done by a cinematographer. I know his first name is Jody because it's so unusual. Probably so. Oh, wait. So Aaron is putting up. So the that is no. So actually, two different things. So I see the Livestock Conservancy, the Farm to Fashion is that's the independent film that was just more recently done. And then the other would be and I don't even know if it had, is like, why do you shear sheep? I don't know if it actually had a name, but that was part of it. So really what they did was they just took a snippet from that why do you shear sheep little film that they did, and then put that in the Farm to Fashion independent movie, apparently. But so all of this to say, I don't know if it's available for viewing in full. Like, I don't know how any of that works, but it was part of I think it was the Tribeca Film Festival, because they were all in New York City for the like viewing of it and stuff. All of that to say, Mimi Prober, so Mimi like my Mimi, Mimi, and then Prober, Prober. She is a fashion designer that I happened to meet her as well through this whole Hudson Valley textile project that we're part of and that I'm a member of. And so Mimi and Isabella hooked up and have been doing a lot of work together. And Isabella has since opened up, they call it a studio. So there's like a storefront in Bellport, which is where Isabella lives, and which is 5 minutes from me. And it does have hours, I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and otherwise Mimi is using that as her like workstation. So Mimi actually came to the open house so that she could see my farm for the first time. She's actually looking to do, I have to get back to her. She's looking to do some work with llama fiber. Again, we're talking very avant-garde, right? Fashion, utilizing wool and yarn and things like that. So anything that Isabella has produced at this point is somehow or other going to Mimi, and they're doing and creating things. And I do think they have stuff for sale, but it's all very expensive. Which it should be, right? Because we all know what goes into the things that we make and make by hand. And they are rightfully pricing it accordingly. But Mimi has her own whole identity also related to stuff that she does. And I didn't have a lot of time to talk to her when I was in the studio picking up the book. And I even was like, hey, could you show me around? And I'll be honest, like she really didn't. And I was interested to like find out what was going on. So I'm sure I'll follow up with her and stuff. So it's a very unique, interesting. I mean, there's always just so many things that happen behind the scenes. I do a terrible job, but I almost feel like it's impossible for people to keep track. Every day, I'm like, I really should just record little snippets of like, what the hell do I do during a day? And then I get halfway through my day and I'm like, shit, oh, like I missed it, like, I don't know how people do it. I really, really, really don't. So that's the whole Isabella Rossellini thing. And, unfortunately, lately I have not cheered for her. She has such specific things that they want. I know, I do need to have those glasses on a lot more. And then I have to like work on my angle in the chat. She was saying I do have the meta glasses. And then sometimes even with that, I feel bad, right? Because then you have to like ask people's permission or things. So it was interesting. We're going a million different directions. I was doing something. Oh, when I went to, and I caught everything too late. But when I went to like a rehabilitation facility, senior care facility, a couple weeks ago. And then what I started doing was just holding my phone. It's a horrible view, but if you see people on social media, sometimes when they want to record stuff and they can't record the people, they just kind of hold the phone and they're kind of recording themselves talking to the people. So that was fun. I did that a little bit and got some like funny, interesting things because I'm just using old people for a general term. Don't anyone get insulted, but old people say the funniest damn things. And it was just an absolute hoot. But at the same time, just so beautiful too, because I took Evan and just to see him interacting with people and going in and out of wheelchairs. And then we also walked around the facility for people that couldn't come outside to meet us. So essentially it was like hospital rooms. And, he would walk into the room, we had to back out, so just cool things like that. And just warms my heart. And those are the things I wish, everybody could see, but you can't always. So I don't know. Anybody want to invest in having like a videographer just follow me around every day? That would just really solve my problems. So either way, yeah, so that's that. I don't know. Anybody, do you want to go anything more on your list? I mean, I've got things, you got things. These are good conversations.
Well, it could be done later, but I need a refresher on telling the difference between a llama and an alpaca.
Yes, and I know when you sent that to me, does anybody else, what is Bing? I know I've heard other people,
It's
other people have
it's
sent
a
me that picture.
browser, and it's on my laptop at work. They throw up a different picture.
Okay,
And you can click a little icon. They tell you where the picture came from and what's in it.
okay,
And they said it was a llama, and I was sure it was an alpaca because the ears weren't big enough.
okay.
And you said no, it was a llama because of the
X, Y, and
pattern,
Z. Yeah, I remember that.
color patterning or something. So I mean, I know the difference between Cusco and your llamas. So I thought, okay, between the ears and the fiber, I have it, but apparently not.
No, and this is perfect because last night's group got updated, but everybody else needs to get updated. So first of all, difference between llamas and alpacas, that's specifically why I keep an alpaca on my farm because it's the most commonly asked question. First and foremost, size is always the difference. But when you're looking at a picture that Bing puts up, that's hard to tell. But essentially, an alpaca is always going to be smaller than a full-grown llama, mind you, right? Because you have babies, crias, and things like that. So we would always use Cusco as an example. His birthday is December. Sir Arthur's birthday is in May of the same year. So essentially, they were always the oldest in that pen, and yet Cusco's like half the size of him. So that's always a good point. The ears are always, I feel like, the next thing that is easiest for people to identify. So alpacas have spear-shaped ears, right? What is that? Concave, I don't know, concave, convex, whatever. Spear shaped, right? Just on both sides. Llamas, now, your dear Stewie, who you love so much, he does not have banana shaped ears. He actually has quite ugly ears. I love him dearly, but he has ugly ass ears. But llamas are supposed to have
Stewie is
banana shaped.
gorgeous.
They're ugly ears.
And,
But
and Ruth Ann knows that too.
so they're supposed to have banana ears, like literally looks like two bananas. And from a llama people perspective, the more those bananas potentially touch and top, you're just like, ooh, I love that. Stewie's ears are like, Mer. I don't know what kind of bananas he has. They're just weird. So either way, the ears, that's the other thing. Now, of course, because it's a smaller animal, I will still say the muzzle, right? So the muzzle, which anatomy, a muzzle, this would be a question that we would ask our 4-Hers. So the muzzle is comprised of the upper lip, the lower lip, the nostrils, and the mouth. So like that whole muzzle is a bit more compact. The term would be for dogs that have that smushed in face. We call that a brachiocephalic. So alpacas have definitely a shorter muzzle than llamas, which have a more elongated muzzle. And oftentimes, sometimes they can have, alpacas always have a dish face. So that's a horse term. So dish face is where the bridge of the nose is like that. Llamas can have that, not usually. So it's usually straight. Or llamas will sometimes have what we call a Roman nose, which is a horse term, where the bridge of their nose is more rounded. So that's overall. Then the biggest one, which is what I said to you when I saw that picture. So conformationally, right? That's how an animal's body is put together. Alpacas have a bit more of a rounded top line. So the top line consists of the withers, the back, the croup, which is above the hips, and then the tail or the tail head. So alpacas are more rounded, and then their tails have a lower set. Llamas are supposed to have a very straight top line, and then their tail comes right out the top of their vertebrae. So that was the biggest thing when I saw that from that picture I said to you. Then the other, you'd have to have the two of them side by side. So even though scientifically they both are a hollow fiber, they both are hypoallergenic, they both are stronger and warmer than wool, and both of them lack memory. An alpaca has more loft. I want to say sheep-like, but it's different than wool. But when you look at an alpaca tail, for instance, it's like a pom-pom. It's just like, poof, like it's just there. If you look at a llama tail, it's like our hair. It hangs, even though they both have the same scientific properties. So that's also something to look at. Even like when you look at the legs on Cusco or any alpaca, everything's poofy, pom-pom like. Llamas are all drapey. And that acts the same. Those of you that have been with me in my like yarn substitution classes and things, when you're holding up a skein of llama yarn and a skein of alpaca yarn, the same yardage, a llama yarn is always going to hang lower. Even if they are hanked up as, let's just say, yard and a half skeins, 2 yard skeins, whatever, if they are equal and equal, apples and apples, llama is always going to hang lower. So that's something. And then
that I sent you, that is a poofy llama. So
well,
that's why I thought
so now if you really want to, but then remind me to go to color. If you really want to get crazy or technical, so that picture was a more classic style old world llama. So the light wool llamas definitely have a bit more loft to their fiber that way versus the silky and more single coat llamas that we breed now that have finer fiber. So, I mean, I know we're getting technical, but that's the difference. That's why that did look poofy, but I'm still 100% positive it was a llama. Mostly like on that top line. And even the proportion. So like llamas, their neck proportion to their back proportion is a bit more even than an alpaca would be. And then color. So this one can be argued because alpacas Now you can sometimes see them with like some spots or things like that, but traditionally, alpacas are solid in color. I keep forgetting to look this up, but they have 22 or 23 registered colors. So you are like, this is a rose gray, this is black, this is a light fawn, this is a medium fawn, this is a dark fawn, this is a white. And so you knew what color that animal is. They get graded. So their colors get graded and they are totally solid in color. So that when you're shearing them, that's why you find I'm laughing at myself. I get so passionate about this. Like ridiculous. But that's why you find alpaca yarn in a commercial setting because you can shear an alpaca, you can grade the color, you can put it in a bin, and you know that you're going to be able to shear, maybe with slight variation, 100 other alpacas that are that color. Now you can have a solid colored llama, but we as idiots, we love glitz, right? We love patterns. We love markings. What the hell does that do for us for fiber? It shoots us in the foot. So for instance, when you look at Sir Arthur, Stewie's dad, he has done so well showing in his early days because he has what we call marketability. He's got flash, he's got patterns, he's got markings, he's got lots of different colors. He catches your eye. Versus, you guys know, when I have a boy that's born, first and foremost, and then it's brown, right? We call it a PBL because we're like, oh, it's a plain brown llama. Nobody looks or turns their head, to a plain brown llama. It's just you're sort of like, meh. So but from a fiber perspective, you're like brown is brown is brown. So that's why the llama yarn is more of a cottage industry because we do not have standardized colors. We like patterns and markings. So whenever you also see a picture of an animal, and if you see patterns, markings, any color variation, that inevitably is also always going to be a llama. Now, that's of course not to say that you can't breed a llama and an alpaca to get a Warizo and then have some variation, but that's a whole nother chapter. So,
Okay.
does that explain it?
Yes, and I guess Stewie's ears are kind of straight, but I never really thought about that.
No, they are kind of, yeah, they're totally weird.
I
He
mean,
got
I
that
still
from
think he's
his
gorgeous.
No, of course I think he's gorgeous. But he got that his mom didn't have the best banana ears and Sir Arthur does. I mean, they're not like really hooked. That's what we would call it. They're not totally hooked, but he does have better ears, so he got his mama's ears, which is okay. And Jillian's asking old world llama. So again, going to your older style, I don't know enough about the evolution of alpaca. I'm not really sure that there is any because they've just been alpacas. And maybe fiber quality has changed, but with llamas, that's what makes it, in my opinion, interesting, but in my opinion, difficult because the original llama was a very short fibered, heavily guarded haired, like heavily guard haired fleece. That was a pack animal. They were athletic. They did not have a lot of wool coverage, so their faces were clean, their legs were clean. We now call those cacaras, CCARA. That's the true classic old world llama is a cacara. You could say light wool, but there's now other variations where you can pass off other llamas as a light wool llama, but a true Kakara actually has clean face, clean ears, meaning no fringe, no like luck at a cute stuff, no bangs, no nothing, legs pretty much from, knees down, nothing. And they have this really cool like mane going down the back of their neck, which is all guard hair. So you see like these long hairs that are very, very distinguishable. And even if you look at their neck, if I sheared their neck, if I didn't shear their neck, that fleece is never going to get any longer. It's like peach fuzz, if you will, with like little beard hairs sticking out. It's just the actual down is super short, and then you just have this mane. I'll have to find a picture of it, but then you just have this mane coming down the back of the neck. So it's such a classic, what we call phenotype. Look at us just geeking out tonight. Me, basically. But phenotype, right, is going to be related to physical characteristics versus genotype. So there's a specific phenotype for this classic style llama. And they're dying off because, even myself included, we love fiber. You can use the fiber from a kakara, but you have to have it de-haired, and then you're probably going to lose like 50 to 60% because it's so heavily, with guard hairs that it becomes cost prohibitive to process that fleece, have it de-haired for the little amount that you're going to yield in the end. I will say though, that's a bit of a foreshadowing to potentially a girl that I have in my sights for next year. There you go. Because I still want to represent all the different fiber types. Classic kakaras, then you've got your light, medium, and heavy wool. You have your silky, you have your suri. So we just have so much variety, which is cool and fun to talk about, but it gets confusing, for sure. But yeah, so that's that. All because of a Bing picture, right?
Yeah,
Now,
but maybe eventually you can like put together like yarn flights for us so we can do like, okay, this is this type of llama and this type, and so we can all knit them all together and see what they're like.
that's such a cool idea. No, it really is. Here's my trouble right now, finding mills that de-hair. That's where I'm stuck right now. And I just have to do a little bit more research. I know some of them. And then for Lord's sake, like, you're looking at a year turnaround time to get yarn back. It's a dilemma. But that is a really, really cool idea. And look at that. My Ruth Ann, my Gina, even my Beth and G. I love that word flight. We could pair it with wine or something because we got to, right?
Oh, definitely. Wine flights are the best.
Yeah, as
Oh my
soon as
God.
you said flight, I thought wine.
I know. I'm
The
literally
wine bar
writing
in
this.
Cleveland that is named Flight.
I
I'm
mean,
really, I wrote it down and I really know it's, again, this is the cool, like, creative stuff that comes out of things. But yeah, like I just never even thought of that. I love that idea. It's going to take a whole hell of a long time for me to put it together because of mill turnaround time, but that's pretty cool. It is. Or do mini skeins. And here's what's even more interesting, although you would be like, ew, what do we do with this? Actually, then also processing a fleece with the guard hairs in it so that you can see what that's really like, right?
That
Because
is a mini skein, so we don't have to get too invested in it.
yeah, no. I mean, yeah, I hear you. Absolutely. Yeah, because cost-wise, that would be crazy. But yeah, no, I love that idea. I do. It's pretty cool. How long does it usually take to buy a llama? You said you want is a lot of paperwork. No, they have to just get older. Um, so, but yes, and I'm also very particular. This just happened to be because again, and really like, hey, see, this is the cool thing about community night. A new account that I picked up this year down in North Carolina, the people that flew me to go to them. Um, the wife actually it's kind of an interesting story. I mean, the husband was involved previous. This is Steve and Tammy Fritz, and it's called On the Fritz Farm. But that's his new farm name. He was involved in llamas previous with his previous marriage, got divorced, had to kind of disband everything, but just still really loved the llamas. And then once he got his life and his divorce settled out, and then found, a new partner, and then started up again. And so now Tammy is involved, and so they've got a new farm name, and they've been back involved. He's a judge. He's the one, guys, that gave Yahtzee her best in show at the Big E last year for
that doesn't
that
like Appaloosas.
Ah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So they had been talking about having me come and shear for them, and then finally did it this year. So anyway, the wife, Tammy, she has a very, very small little program of where she is still breeding these true classic Kakara llamas because it's very hard. The genetics are so intertwined because there's so few of them that, trying to get different genetics and things like that. And so I just happened to say, because I really like them, and I was like, look, I lost my last, I don't even know who was my last, but I don't have any classic llamas anymore. Obviously, it's not a fiber perspective, but it's an education. And I just, the day I was leaving, I said, look, if you do, they had a girl that was due to give birth any day. And I said, look, if it happens to be a girl, because I would want to breed it, and honestly, probably wouldn't breed it pure. But even still, I said, please let me know, please keep me in mind. And I think I literally left. They drove me to the airport, and then she gave birth to a girl. And they were like texting me and sending me pictures. I haven't reached out to them. I'll have to do that tonight now. But of course, I was all hot to try. And I said, please. So I asked, I said, please give me first right to refusal. And so in our world, what that means is I'm saying, hey, I'm really interested. Of course, I want to see how she grows and develops, and if you could put me first on the list so that when you are ready to sell, then you have to ask me first. And it's just a physical handshake, right? There's no papers written up or anything like that. It's just a matter of a courtesy. So yeah, so that was, I mean, this all happened, during the end of shearing season. And so in terms of why it would take so long is because if she was just born in the spring, she's not going to be ready to go, until next year. So yeah, so that's just kind of, and that's just been in the back of my head. So yeah, I mean, I was already like, when we were starting chapter 2 on the adopt a llama, I was like, I already got 3. And I don't even think I told my llama mamas. They didn't even know. So you guys are hearing it first, versus my level 4 people, Beth and Madeline, in particular, that are on with me right now. So
Like, we didn't hear anything about this.
I know, but
Surprise, surprise.
I know. I never know where conversations are going to take us, right? And that's again, it's what I love about these opportunities to interact, and I hope, for what it's worth, I hope some of it's fun. I hope some of it is educational. I mean, there's always just a little bit of something, and I love when you guys do have questions for me because it just takes us in so many different directions, which is great. So the one thing I do want to then let you guys in on, because I haven't posted or shared and it's not in a newsletter. So I actually did sell my alpaca Cusco, which was a surprise for me. He went with, which again, probably most people don't know, but we have a local wildlife park, for a lack of a better word, that closed down after years and years and years. I've been providing them with a llama and an alpaca for as long as I can remember, as long as I've been involved in llamas. And just due to, I think, some political things, some unrightly bad press, budgetary, they just got squeezed out and they've shut down this whole animal park. So all the animals had to be placed. And so I, of course, stepped in to take back the llama and the alpaca that they had. Belisario is the llama who actually I bought him when I bought Sir Arthur 11 years ago, because they're 12 now. And I had Belle for a little while. We showed him Karen, who's a young woman that was with me for years and years and years, as some of you know. That was her show llama. So I mean, he did a bunch with us, and then really when Holtzville was looking for a new llama after Mutsu, who they had, who had passed away. I just thought he would be a nice fit. I wasn't going to be using him for breeding. He was great, easy to handle, just fun personality. So anyway, they had him. And then they also had an alpaca Finn, who was part of our original alpaca mafia, we called them. I had adopted 4 alpacas years and years and years ago. And we called them the alpaca mafia because when I introduced them to the farm, my llamas were scared of them. And it was just hysterical because I thought it was going to be the other way around. And really over the years, they all dispersed. And so Finn ended up getting reunited with one of his buddies that lives down in Jersey. Also with Paige, for those of you that know the baby llama picture on our totes and our pillows, that's Paige. So that's where Finn went. And Belle was going to go there, but actually, I had not realized that they had not castrated him. So that turned into a whole disaster, which I don't have time for. You can ask me next time. Anyway, Belle was going to go to Jersey. I dropped him off in Jersey. She managed to keep him while I then delivered Appa and Roger to his new home. Had to pick Belle back up on the way home because he was being an asshole, basically, because I did not realize he was still intact. Had to take him back home. He went into quarantine. We got him castrated right away, and then he stayed in quarantine for like a month until we then reintroduced him to the group. And he's a lovely llama, but he has been confrontational to say the least, and like just really upset the whole apple cart here on the farm. I took him in knowing I was going to sell him anyway. And so I had a client in Lower Hudson Valley area that had two llamas from Carol. And she had her last llama that ended up passing away while we were in Iowa. I was helping her through that. I love when my customers will text me and ask me for help. I was connecting her with other people in her area. Like I'm thankful that I can do that for people who are willing to reach out and ask. So she lost that llama, and then lo and behold, she was looking to get another pair, but then she was thinking about alpacas, and I'm like, oh no, don't do that. I'm like, you're not gonna like them. So all in said, I just shared with her what I had available. And knowing Belisario, but then knowing how confrontational he kind of is, but yet he was used to living with an alpaca all of his years at the park.
Mm.
I just said, you know what? I think it's going to be a nice pairing in the sense that not that the two of them were best friends, but I just felt like he wasn't going to pick fights with Cusco. And he could feel like, the man of the new household. And then on the other hand, like I talked to my group last night, what you guys have to remember is I can't be a retirement home for everybody. And so I also did have to stop and think. Here's an alpaca that I've had since he was 3. I've sheared him since he was a baby. And I love him dearly, and he's a rock star for an alpaca. Um, but, he's 12. And I thought it was a good opportunity to have him get a great new home where he's going to be loved and enjoyed because she was really excited about maybe getting alpacas. And at the same time, then it gives me a chance to start over, right? Because she's going to still have him for a number of years. And now I will start on a new journey to look for a new alpaca to come to the farm, and put the time into hopefully getting one that's as cool as him, because it is so important for people to be able to see the difference between the two of them. So, that was another recent development that happened very fast because that's what happens around here. And then next thing you know, day after open house, I was delivering them to their new home. So, and I've been keeping in touch with her and just finding out how everyone's doing. And she's thrilled. Her husband actually is a long-term dementia, lives at home. They have a full-time care for him. He's just hanging in there. And so, she was looking for him to also still have something to connect to because he loved the animals. They have grandchildren, that come and visit. So, just lots of really good things that always make me feel good about being able to pass on, that sort of llama life and love that I have and the animals that I have, and also finding the right fit. We talked about that a little bit last night in our group, but finding the right fit. It's not for me about selling animals. It's about finding the right fit in which I think people will be happy with and what suits them and what they want to do with the animals. Autumn Olive Farms is a perfect example of that. And these people are a perfect example. Cusco does not want to be caught and haltered and walked around and pet by people. He would hate living at Autumn Olive Farms. He would be like, get me the hell out of here. Roger and Appa are so happy there. Cusco wants to be what we call pasture art. He wants to be looked at. He wants to be fed leaves. He wants people to think he's cute, but don't touch him. Don't ask him to do anything, right? When you try to walk him, he's like, no, like he wants his distance, So like nobody's going to bother him there. He's just going to get to be cute. And on the other hand, Belisario is very easy to handle. Mom asked me about Clover. We didn't see her at the. Oh, Clover was there. You probably, I don't know how you couldn't see her. She's fat as a house. My beach ball. But yeah, Pasture Art. Ruth Ann says, I want to be Pasture Art. That's our favorite like expression, is Pasture Art when animals are just out there looking cute but not really doing much. We call them Pasture Art. Rightfully so, right? Yeah, no, she did not have her bow. She probably ate her bow years ago. The bow, the picture she's asking is Clover, our Cotswold sheep that she's on our tote bag, with the front with the little pink bows and then the back with her floofy booty. So yes, Clover is our beach ball. She's extremely fat and happy. I don't know how you missed her. She can't hide behind a tree. And she does not have bows in her hair. Like I said, she probably ate the bows. She probably ate everything else around her. So, but she's good. She is good. She was there for sure. So, yeah, so that's that whole thing. That's that whole saga.
Did Susan
I have
want
a
to say
quick,
anything?
real quick. Oh,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, are you finished with your questions?
No, Susan in the chat said she wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank
please
you.
jump in.
I just wanted to share. I had taken a sheep breed class with
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kimberly,
Yes.
and I didn't want to use a bow because I figured I'd like to use it all year round. And I've made about 3 of them as gifts. And then not too long ago, I bought one of the pencil toppers.
Mhm.
I named it Lucy. And she like watches me knit and all, and I said, you know what? She might not be a bad idea to have her in the middle.
Oh my God, that is so cute.
So I see you don't have the pencil toppers anymore. You have the
No.
puppets
No, we do.
with the sheep.
Yeah. We actually just so now just so we'll make sure we update. So sometimes because we get that off of Fair, which is like fair trade,
Right, I
know,
saw
whatever.
that, yeah.
Yeah, but they were out of them, but I'm almost positive they were back in stock and we just restocked them before the open house. Now Jill was supposed to update, I'm not saying she didn't, but she was supposed to update the website with all the new stuff that we got in since the open house, but I know we have them.
Okay,
So
because
let
I
me make a
put,
note.
okay, so then I'll wait until your site is updated.
No, but yeah, but I'll double check and I know we have your email because thank you. I know you were reaching out trying to get the information about the different
Right,
measurements
for the
that they
10-inch wreath.
Yeah, and that's Kimberly, of course, but I know she got right back to you once we forwarded it to her. So she pencil topper, but I am 99% positive that we got those back in stock, but I will double
Okay,
check for
then I'll
you.
hold off because with the
Yeah.
10-inch wreath, I thought I might put 2 of them in there.
That is really, really, really cute. Now, are you thinking to cut the bottom off to like kind
Well, I was thinking of like putting a skewer or something
of, okay.
and then sticking it in the styrofoam, and I'm hoping
Oh,
that would hold it in place. And if for some reason the person wants to put a bow on it, they could always take her out.
I love that. I mean, really, it does look really cute. It's almost like a little, like, little frame, little mirror, but it looks adorable.
So, okay, so I'll wait until I see your
Yeah, and I'll,
updated.
I'll
And
definitely
then
take a look
when
at
she
that.
gets a chance, if she could just tell me how many stitches for the 10-inch wreath.
Did she, because I was swamped yesterday and then today I was just doing birthday shit. But did she, I saw she responded, but should she not get back to you about that?
No, I didn't see anything about that.
Okay, let me look at that too then. And actually I was supposed to call her today and then we just kind of lost. So the stitches. Yeah, and I have no idea, that's her as the designer. I just kind of facilitate the classes and stuff like that. But I'm just so glad that you've enjoyed making them so much.
Oh, I did. And like I said, there'll be holiday gifts, and I want to make the big one for myself with the 2 heads in there.
And then a little foreshadowing because actually I owe Crystal Hyatt, well, what? Oh, I'm all right for now. Thank you. Sorry, I got the husband in the wings here. And then I actually have to get back to Crystal for what? I'm fine, thank you. Um, those of you that enjoyed, we did a dye collaboration with the curls with Crystal last year. So I will be doing that again. But she's also got some other stuff coming down the works, and I can't share yet because she can't share yet, but she's doing more things with the curls. And then I'm even talking to her about doing a dye collaboration with yarn. So I got to get back to her. But so basically, all that to say, we will definitely have some colored curls coming down the pike again, too. So, keep that in mind also. But I'm so glad that you enjoyed making all of those.
Oh, I did. They're very easy and it's fun and it makes great gifts, even though they haven't gotten them yet.
And it's funny, right? And it's funny though, because what I love is you're like, it's so easy. And then I've talked to other people where they're like, oh no, this is not for me. Like it's just too meticulous or too time consuming. So that's again the other great thing, right? Like everybody loves something different, as far as what they like to do and what they like to make. So it's great to see all those different things. So I'm glad. I'm glad. Cool. Well, good. Well, I made notes about all of this. So again, I will absolutely follow up on that for you. No problem. Elizabeth,
No,
where are
I'm
you?
finished.
She's like, no, I'm done. Beth, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
On the times you have those weekends and you have those baskets, is there any way that those of us that live millions of miles away can get raffle tickets for them?
I feel like one year I did do that. But yeah, I mean, look, anything's possible, right?
I think you did do that, Tabitha.
I do feel like that, like because I know somebody was like, "Well, we're never going to be there," and is there
COVID-ish,
do
like
it?
when things were still kind of.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to say, I mean, it's not like as if, and I don't know, maybe somebody who lives locally feels differently and you can weigh in too. I mean, it is something that essentially you have to shop in order to be able to get a ticket right in for the raffle baskets. So it would have to be something though where we would have to say, okay, if you don't live in the area, you have to shop between this date and this date, or just this day, because really the people that come to our open house, they have the one day that they're there to shop. And for every $10 that they spend in our store, they get a ticket that goes in for the raffle baskets. So that's why I started doing like the share and share tour basket. We do have TDOC. So I'm not opposed to it. I just always want it to be fair, and it's not about local or not local, because we do have people that come in from out of the area for our open house events. And then the only thing, of course, is you would have to pay for shipping. We do not ship product. Like I had one of my friends, Bettina is her name. I have known her for just, I can't even tell you how long. And it's so cool that she comes from Jersey to meet up with friends and then comes to the open house, pretty often. And she won the Hamptons coffee basket. And we had to ship it to her. And it was heavy. So it was a good like 20 something dollars that she had to pay. So, I think it just depends that way. There's certain baskets that we can't do, right? Like I can't ship wine legally. So, that one is out. But yeah, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm gonna make a note. We do have our holiday open house. And yeah, so let me just let's see. Baskets. And hey, I love that everybody loves a good prize, right? And look, when the day is done, if more people want to get involved, it just more people are supporting me. And you always have to remember that is what it's about. That's how I keep going. That's, again, how I pay Jill, how I pay Mimi, how we feed the animals. As I always tell everybody, it's not like I'm driving around in a Lamborghini. I almost killed Mimi. I did buy a cute pair of like $70 overalls, and it was Mimi's fault because I went to Tractor Supply to buy a $17 SWAT, which is a cream that's a fly repellent, but I had to go to a different Tractor Supply for it, and they had better clothes and they had better women's selection. And the next thing you know, I had a pair of overalls that I wore to the open house, and I was so excited about.
They were cool. They
I
looked
love
really
them.
good.
I haven't had a pair of overalls, and I can't tell you how long. I mean, I know I'm a farmer, but I don't own overalls. So I thought they were so cute, but that was a big joke around here because $17 for the SWAT, and then I spent like 60 some odd dollars for a dumb pair of overalls. But either way,
Right.
so
That's about
every
the
once in
price
a
of the
while,
skein of your yarn. I mean,
every once in a
that
while,
tells you
I
what.
splurge. So,
Which you're entitled to.
Yeah.
here and there I do. Look, I got my nails done, so that's my splurge, right? I got my nails done. So, all right, couple of other things though, as we are wrapping up, just for more like upcoming things, because as we go into the fall, and for those of you that don't live locally, like I am going to be different places, and I always love if people can keep it in mind or join. So first and foremost, I know like I can't see her face. I know Ruth Ann is there. So next weekend, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh. So there is, and it was in the newsletter, but so there is an event. It's been the Pittsburgh Creative Arts Festival. It's a what do you call it? Like a multidisciplinary, a multi like mixed media. I don't know what do you call when it's like sewing and quilting and knitting?
Multi-fiber.
Okay, is that what you call it? So it's been a bunch of different things, and then honestly kind of really started dying off. But last year, Kimberly was headlining as one of the instructors. I'm like, I'll go again. And then the person who was organizing it retired, sold it, I guess, in a sense, to vendors who decided to take it over and try to hopefully breathe some new life into it. So it's now called Stitchburg, and it's in Mars, Pennsylvania, but I guess that's the greater Pittsburgh area, Ruth Ann. I don't know. Anybody?
It's in the North Hill suburbs, the
Okay.
area.
It's at a DoubleTree
Other side of
hotel.
Pittsburgh, the old one.
For me, it's a good 8.5 hour drive, but I'm going by myself. Actually, I think our friend Tina Mattoon, who's in our Llama Mama group and sometimes is with us here, I think she's actually going to come again and meet me there and help, which is fine. Ruth Ann is coming, and I'm going to finally meet Ruth Ann's daughter, grown daughter, but I've never met her in person. So I just love when I'm other places. And if you happen to be nearby or within a drive that you want to take a drive and go to a fiber event, please feel free. So that is next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll be leaving early Thursday morning to get on the road because, again, as I said, it's a pretty good long drive for me. So that's
It
happening.
looks like it's doing pretty well this time.
We'll
because
see, right?
I had to.
You said you had trouble
Yeah, I
getting
wanted to add
another
a
room.
night to my room reservation because we decided we were going Friday instead of Saturday. Anyway, I couldn't get it to go through it at the block rate. And when I called, she's like, the block rooms are all gone. Now she tweaked it and
But
gave
that
me the
could also
second night
be
at the rate.
vendors. You have to keep that in mind. Like
Yeah,
we're
that's true.
part of
But she said that the response has been really good. She's like they were pleasantly surprised by the response. The hotel was. So
look, it is what it is, right? I mean, my worst case scenario is that I'm not going to be able to handle the booth by myself. So be it. We'll make it work. But I'm looking forward to it. So that's where I'll be next weekend. Then the first weekend in October, I'll be back in Massachusetts. So that's Springfield for anybody that's in that area. And if you are not even local, though, and you're looking to go to a big agricultural fair, it is my favorite event. In terms of like a state fair, if you've never been to a state fair, you should be to one. Massachusetts doesn't have a state fair, and a lot of the surrounding areas don't. So they kind of like combine forces. Versus at the end of August is the New York State Fair, which I don't go to anymore. But I love the Big E, is what it's called. So it actually runs for 2.5 weeks. It starts mid-September, and then this year, based on the calendar, it's running till the first weekend of October. We will be there showing our llamas. I just got the text today that Madeline's going to come again and help us. Kate Pers, who was one of my very first llama kids when she was 8. I don't know, she's 30 something now, which is ridiculous. She came last year to help, and she's going to come again. Caitlin might be coming. I have to figure that out. My dear friend Carol will be there. But it's just a really fun family, event. So we'll be there. That is, again, whatever the first Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of October is, and that is in West Springfield, Massachusetts. Then Rhinebeck. I mean, quintessential, right? So, those of you that might be going to Rhinebeck, let me know. I will say, and I said to Madeline, I know it's fine. I am putting out an APB. My dear Jill, my Julie cruise director of the Love Boat, we love her dearly, but she's also like, I'm not traveling anymore. I'm like, okay. So she did tell me this last year. So I am putting out an APB for help, meaning because Jill would run the register, which is so important. I do know that I have to fulfill that. I've thought about being that myself, but the trouble is I'm useless. Everybody wants to talk to me, hug me, take pictures with me, which I love. Don't get me wrong, but I can't be the register. And usually Becky with the good hair, as we call her, she is back on board. Jalen, who used to be with me, was my high school girl. She's going to be busy with college. So we're looking for a whole new crew of people to help out at a lot of our events. So if anybody is planning or wants to go to Rhinebeck or can go to Rhinebeck, we'll put you up, we'll get you in there for free. There's nominal remuneration, for your time. Lots of hugs, if that counts.
Plane tickets?
And no, I'm not paying for a plane ticket. No, ma'am. You got to get your ass there.
I was kidding anyway. But...
I know. But we do give some store credit, of course. But they are long days. Like this is no joke.
Long days.
They are long days. We're not joking. This is serious. Like we pay mortgages with this weekend. So it's really super important. So if anybody, wants to keep that in the back of your mind and wants to talk to me about it, we're definitely going to be looking for some extra help. So that's that. Then the gala conference. So this hasn't been on my radar. If anybody is in the northern Pennsylvania, Scranton area, I will be there the 3rd, so the weekend after Rhinebeck. I've not gone to my llama conference in a while because it's been conflicting with other things. I do need to get back to you guys, but there's a whole fiber track. I mean, I get it's kind of weird, and maybe, you're not wanting to spend a couple $100 on like a weird llama conference weekend, but you also don't have to be part of the conference. If you live in the area and you want to just drive and like come see llamas and come see me and just, hang out, you can do that also without being part of the conference. But for a relatively nominal fee, you can be part of the conference, meals included, join in on the fun. There's all different tracks. It's like it's a conference, it's a workshop, but they have fiber things. So I need to, I talked to Carol today, so I have to get the actual lineup of the different fiber classes. That they are offering. And I will say, when Carol, my bestie, runs the conference, God bless her, it is worth it. It is jam-packed. It is fun. It is educational. And there's a lot of things that we do. So there's a couple different packages. The hotel is booked, but I heard from her today that there's another block of rooms at a hotel like 10 minutes away. And apparently it's a better deal because it's cheaper and you get breakfast. Thankfully, I stay with the conference organizer in her suite, so I'm not feeling duped about that. But we were talking about this last night because it was on the website. So that's the Greater Appalachian Llama and Alpaca Association. If you are at all in the Scranton, Pennsylvania area, again, just saying, hey, roll up and come visit me and say hey, if nothing else. And then back to West Springfield, we have the Fiber Festival of New England. So again, for anybody that's in that area, that's a really cute, I don't want to say cute because it's big, but it's not Rhinebeck big. And a lot of people don't like Rhinebeck because it's too much. It's too overwhelming. It's too oversensory. It's just too much. And so the Fiber Festival of New England is just sweet. I mean, still 100+ vendors, not the same in terms of classes and things like that. It's got a good selection of animals, but everything is indoors. It's in like a big like football stadium sized building. So you can't have a bad weekend, right? Once you get in, it's if it's raining, it doesn't matter versus Rhinebeck. So there's pros and cons of it that way. And that's our only event that we get to bring our llamas. So I do have a lot of fun with that. And I don't know where I'm at with that. I have to figure it out. I know Madeline came and helped me last year, but Jalen
is here.
but Jalen was, yes, I'm like pretty much just like check yourself off. But Jalen was with us also. I know I don't have Jalen again. So, again, I'll just be looking for kind of a whole new crew of people to be working with me, which, will be fun. So those are my upcoming events for the most part. And I do love when I get to see people, as I travel around. And yeah. And with that being said, like, I don't know, I'm hoping I felt a lot better today. I feel like because I had my group last night, I just like I said, it's sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle. And if I'm not on social media, like either I'm super busy, or something is wrong and not in a bad way. I just but also you're always going to know if I show up, it's because I'm being genuine. I'm never going to show up if I don't feel it. And that's kind of just where I've been lately. I just haven't felt it. And I never want to show up and not be just not be genuine, for you guys. So you can always still reach out and touch base and things are still happening. Lord knows I don't get to sleep in bed all day long. I wish. I have gotten some pool time. I mean, I've been trying to be good to myself and those are things I like. But we're doing the things. And so I love when I hear from you guys, outside of this. So I appreciate all of you that have reached out to say hey and what's going on and what's happening. And so I hope to just kind of keep moving forward, with that to be able to do a better job to reach you guys and make you feel included and make sure that you can find ways to be part of what I'm doing in person, because that would be super cool. I don't always know where everybody lives, so that's kind of hard. But please don't ever hesitate to reach out and be like, hey, we can come here. I mean, like Madeline, last year I was like, hey, you want to go to Llama Show? Like just, I don't know. I don't even know how that happened. And then now
it happened because I said I kind of wanted to go to the Big E, but I couldn't go. I could only go one day at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden and you're like, well, you can come and stay in our suite. And I'm like, let me see how I can work that. So I came and helped out at the Big E, and then
you don't get to do it for free. If I'm putting you up, you have to work, right?
I did work. I worked.
I know.
I thought I worked pretty well because then you asked me to come back.
Well, and I was going to say too, literally, if anybody's in the Pittsburgh area, like, and Ruth Ann, no, I hear you. I told Ruth Ann they could stay with me, but I literally have to pay for a hotel room and it's just me by myself. Anybody wants to come? You got a place to stay? I don't care. I mean, I'm by myself in a hotel room with, double beds and, so there's a free place to stay if you want to come and just enjoy Stitchburg. So, it's things like that. I have to pay for it anyway. It's a business expense. So, if I can fit other people in, I'm always happy to. And I think sometimes people don't always think I'm serious, but yeah, like Madeline was like, I think I might like to go. I'm like, well, then you're staying with us. But
and I was like,
there was like what? 5 girls in a room, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of us. Like, we jam people in,
But we were barely there. We were out of the room at like 6:37 in the morning.
I was going to say, that's the other thing too. You have to be prepared to some degree. It is a crazy schedule, and if you want to sleep in, then you're on your own. You have to figure out how to get there. So I will say Madeline hung, she was good and she still likes me afterwards, which is important too.
I was going to say you still like me enough to say you want to come up to the New England Fiber Festival. I'm like, okay.
It's always like, when they say vacation with people, you got to like be careful, right? Because like sometimes if you spend a little too much time with people, you just never know what you're going to get. But yeah, no, it's good.
Thank you for that opportunity. It was eye-opening and it opened myself up to another world, which, we may be expanding that, as I just
I know,
messaged
that's
you
what I was just
earlier
gonna say.
today.
I'm gonna totally put her on notice because now we're going to get Madeline to take llama lessons because she wants to go to the biggie again. And I told her she has to show, you didn't have to, but I said, what would you think about getting in the ring? I said, we could do adult llama lessons and I could teach you like what you need to know and then you could have a chance to show a llama. So
And my husband goes, it would be great for you to show your animal IQ because it's something I've always loved animals. So here's my chance.
I'm so excited. So yeah, so we're gonna get working on that right quick. So you guys will have to stay tuned for that. So and she's
I'm
only
drinking
got
out
two,
of my look at
she only
the
has
glass.
2 days to back out because the entries are due Friday. Tomorrow I'm going to do them. So
It's been on my calendar, so I can't back out.
well, you could back out of showing if you didn't want to.
No, I'll do it.
That's great. Good.
I know, so
Go,
excited.
Madeline.
I'm so excited. And then this is what I said to her too, like locally, and you'll see it because if I'm going to do this for Madeline, like I mean, yesterday I had 35 camp kids here, third and fourth graders. I am sorry, folks. Like I don't do camp. There is no, I'm beyond that. I don't want to do camp. I don't want to be a camp counselor. I mean, I did the camp for the day and it was great and I had a lot of fun and the kids are so cute, but I cannot do camp Monday to Friday. So I said though, like I want adult camp. So that's, and I know most of you don't live locally, but I'm like, that's what I'm going to put out there because if Madeline and I are doing this, we're going to see if there's anybody else that wants to just get on board and we're going to start this adult camp and farm camp and we'll see what we can do with it. So
Can I participate with my walker?
you could if you live closer.
Okay.
How about
No.
how about a motorized vehicle?
Well, no, and look, I will say, and don't laugh. So back in the day when the industry was a lot bigger, they had classes. So there are amendments for people that have physical disabilities and even for kids that have physical disabilities to be able to still participate with the llamas, and the llamas are amazing with it. So yes, I mean, I've seen kids that are in walkers, kids that are in wheelchairs, like all that kind of stuff. And it's so cool. I've had kids that are autistic, cerebral palsy that have gone through my program, and it's so cool. I just don't have the same time as I used to have, and I don't want to do it. I want to do adults because then we could also have fun and, just have fun, have adult fun.
If it's for a week or so, I'm happy to come up
Hey, oh
with,
my gosh, right? I didn't even think about
and
that.
I can play with Stewie.
We could have like a whole llama adult camp retreat. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and I just appreciate you guys for everything and the enthusiasm that you give me. Because like I said, sometimes when you gotta wake up and do this every damn day, there are days lately where I lay in bed, I'm like, do I have to open up my eyes? And I do, right? And a lot of times I do because of you guys. So thank you. So, but I will say too, retreat wise, I see that do a farm retreat. That is even something that Crystal and I, still talk about, and Kimberly's kind of been in and out of there. So, all of those things are not out of the question as things are changing. Because even Vogue Knitting Live, for instance, that's, we have a final date for that. Like, there's things that are ending, there's things that are changing, and there's always new opportunities. So don't ever hesitate to be like, this is what I would really love. And it could be possible. So,
Vogue's ending.
yeah. Yeah, you know what? When they told me last year, I swore I would not forget it. And then I was just texting Becky with Clinton Hill Cashmere. I was like, I know I told you the date. Do you remember? But yeah, so I will say, for those of you that want to have it on your bucket list, I know this is not the last year, 2027, and 2028 doesn't sound like a right number. I want to say 2029 I know I'm almost done. I want to say 2029 is the last year for that, but I know it's got a finite, and it's basically based on a hotel contract, right? It's not public information, but there you go. So yeah, like I said, things are changing. Things are changing. So that leaves a whole new window open for other things, and you always have to evolve, right? We all pivot. So All right, before my husband kills me, in there. Not that he would. I think he's just, he's trying to make dinner and all that kind of
He
fun
wants to
stuff.
enjoy, he wants to celebrate your birthday.
Can I just tell you, like, I
What?
did not wake up thinking, oh, it's my birthday. And he was just like, oh, I'm going to stay home and we're going to do this. And I had to go to Tractor Supply. He's like, I'll go with you. I was like, no, I'm going to Tractor Supply by myself. I'm like, I'm going to Starbucks to get my free Starbucks by myself. I said to him, like, we did not communicate this. Nobody told me we were having like a birthday, couple's day. I was like, I'm just doing my day. So, at least that way I'll entertain him with dinner. So
You never
tomorrow.
did tell us what your present was.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I don't think he bought himself a new truck, right? So,
Right.
I mean, I am not being ungrateful. So I had to get up, mind you, 35 camp kids yesterday, but I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take him to the train because he had to take a train to an Amtrak to go get his new truck in upstate New York. Um, so he was getting a utility, we call him a tough box, but he was getting a utility bin for the back of his truck. So I think he was just sort of like, see Stephanie's husband. I think he was sort of like, oh, well, I know maybe she's wanted one. So I think it was just more coupled in the fact that he wanted to get one for himself because as it turns out, we're returning mine because it's just too big, it's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. But it was a nice thought. But what he did do is I don't ever wear my rings anymore because between boxing and getting old, and I'm sure arthritis, my rings don't fit. And the last time I was at the gym, my trainer, Frankie, is an electrician, and he had to cut my ring off because I couldn't get it off. I texted him that morning. I was like, Frankie, you better cut this thing off my finger because I can't get it off and I can't box. So we literally cut my engagement ring off my finger. And then I have an eternity band and then our wedding band. So today we went to the jeweler and he's paying to get a whole new engagement ring done and then to have my other two rings like expanded because I got fat fingers now, I guess. So that was sweet. So that'll be nice, to be able to wear my rings and stuff like that again without literally salve. Salve was so purposeful, soap, and then this would be me with my teeth trying to drag them off of me. I can't tell you how many times the skin would just be sloughing off of my finger trying to get those damn rings on and off until I was finally like, enough. So, it's one of those things I would never spend money on that. And it's going to be a lot of money, but that was my present.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, all right, guys.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Thank
Have a great
birthday.
birthday.
Enjoy your evening.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Wait. I mean, I know we've like lost people, but hang on one second. Let me lead off my screen. Let me get a picture of everybody. Smile, everybody. Forever's there. Oh, thanks, Ruth Ann, for jumping in. Where's Gina? There's Gina. Look at all you guys. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Birthday.
At least you got a picture. So thank you guys so much. Have a great evening. Don't forget about the sale. We'll have another newsletter go out again just to remind people about all the other stuff. So if you're not getting the newsletter, let me know so we can look into that. And yeah, Susan, I will look into all the things. Yarn Flight is double starred. Look at that.
Thank you.
Starred because I think that's an amazing idea. And then also I'll keep a note about the baskets. So, all right. Love you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.
birthday.
Bye.
Bye.